Okay, welcome to this special session by a very special person who has been here already. And Sumi has been the NLP trainer also. We did the training together, and it has been a hell lot of fun because not just we did the NLP training, also we wrote things together. So she's the author of Adrenaline Shots as well. If you haven't checked her book, please do so. And since then, if I say in one word, how I have known Sumi or how she has appeared to me layer by layer is one thing that she's an explorer of mind and soul. And for that, she keeps on exploring it in different ways. And that's why every time when I invite her, it's an honor because the kind of insights that she brings here are always different and something which I even look forward to. Today, the topic that she's covering up in one line, if I say, that is about who are you or who are we in short, and how do we connect with that inherent inner within. Although I haven't read the book myself, so I'm not the right person to say more about the book, but this is from the book Untethered Soul, which she would be talking about certain concepts that really stuck with her, that really have made a shift in her life. And that's what she's going to share with us. So welcome, Sumi.
Thank you so much for a lovely introduction, Heena. Thank you.
Most welcome. Okay, so you begin and I will be exiting. Okay.
Thank you, Heena.
All the best.
Yeah. Genevieve, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, nice to see you also. It's lovely when the
Thank
cameras are on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I'm curious, what brought you to this session?
When I was reading about it, I thought it's something that would be, really useful to my thought process, if I could say that.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, what shall I say about your book, right? About the book. That book sounded something I would like to read, but I thought let me hear about it before I read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have some points that I've written down, which I thought I'll walk through in the session. And, Genevieve, we can call it a session whenever you would like to. If it doesn't go to the entire 1 hour, that's fine too. Um, and since it's only the two of us, we can like kind of how do I say, we can navigate it the way that we would like for it to go, or let it emerge, if you will.
Yeah. But I'm sure there might be others who would join in a little later, because I have noticed that there are some who join late. But when I saw that sentence, like looking everywhere but inward, that really struck a very, what shall I say, empathetic chord, because I do believe that is very important for us to do.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe, that would help me understand things better about myself.
Yeah. It's the goal, right? That is all that life is about, which is knowing yourself, growing, and then experiencing life. Which is also what the author says here. He says there was one beautiful line that I was finishing the book yesterday, and it said that I need to find out. I had sent it to Heena, and I had sent it to another friend of mine too. And it says it was actually in the last part of the book. It's interesting that I'm starting with the last part, but it is what it is. So he was trying to put life into perspective by using death, and it's very interesting because he said that we fear death, but death is what makes life precious, and I completely agree with him. If there was no death or end date for this lifetime, then we would take it so light, which we also, I think, which at least I can talk. I can't say we. I also at times take it lightly, right? Like I go on this Netflix binge or whatever. uh, but what he says is, and I think I also had written something similar in one of my stories, where it says that um, life is also unpredictable, and that's why it's precious. So he was talking about. Feel free to speak up, Genevieve. It's unmute or whenever you feel like.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, yes, because life is so unpredictable, it is precious, and we have to make use of the moments we have,
Exactly.
to make it like very fulfilling to us.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what he was talking about, and that towards the end of it, where he also said that, I'm just going to read it out. It says that the fear will fade once you understand that the only thing there is to get from life is the growth that comes from experiencing it. And he also, there was another part which says, you really don't need more time before death. The next part is beautiful. He says, what you need is more depth of experience during the time that you're given.
True. But a
Yeah.
depth of experience means how do you experience the depth?
Yeah.
Okay, my only, I mean, if somebody would have to ask me that, I would say maybe in meditation you experience a certain depth.
Mm.
Yeah. But other than that, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I believe that when you're present with everything that you're doing, then it adds depth to the experience. And now I'm going to give like a random example. Example is cooking. Why couldn't cooking be an experience of depth? When you are fully present, and then you could hear the sound of the knife hitting the cutting board, the sound of the little juices that come out when you're cutting, let's say, a tomato, and when you, let's say it's a boiling pot and you put the vegetables into the pot, there's like a little when the water ripples out, there's that sound. And of course there could be aroma that comes in. So when you're experiencing cooking in that manner, then there's depth to it, right? um, and I think in general, uh, we are so like I shouldn't say we, it's like I want to finish cooking fast, so as if there's something else to do, right? um, but I feel like just being present to every experience adds depth to it, instead of trying to be somewhere else or being somewhere else in your head also. Like, what if I'm cooking but I'm thinking about tomorrow's meeting, um, or thinking about, what do I have to do next? That loses the depth of the experience, right? That's how I see it.
Yeah, it could be that like you are totally in the moment and you are aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
But what happens, since there are certain like you cook every day,
Mm.
so when that experience becomes repetitive, one's mind tends to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, and he in the book he's talked a lot about mind, and you're like very spot on about mind. In order to satisfy the mind, not from the book, but another example about mind that a teacher was talking about. He said that once the mind has experienced something, in order to get the same level of feeling, you have to do something more. Let's say, today today eating an ice cream is making me happy, but the next time I eat the same ice cream, it may not be the same experience. I'll have to, let's say, have ice cream with sprinkles on it to get to the same level of satisfaction for the mind, right? Whereas that's where the soul is different, because then for the soul, it's It is. It just is. There's no better or good or bad, right? But now that you've talked about mind, the author, he starts off with mind in the initial chapters, and the way that he's explaining mind is so beautiful. And I, um, and I realized it also after having read the chapter. Right? He says that imagine having the mind constantly has commentary. So even if you, let's say, look at something, then the mind is trying to describe it. And the reason the mind wants to describe it is so that there's control. That's the mind's way of controlling the situation, right? So let's say I'm seeing, like if I look outside the window right now, um, the mind would go, oh, I see white flowers and green leaves. It's saying that in the mind. I don't say it out loud, but it's happening in my mind. Um, and so, hi, Archana.
Hi, Sumi.
Hi. So we were just talking about mind, and Genevieve here brought up something about the mind, and we I was going back to like the starting part of how the book starts off talking about mind, right? And then I was explaining how the author is describing mind. Mm. So he says that the mind has like a 24-hour commentary going on, and um, it is we don't understand it, but it's kind of exhausting. Now, after I read the chapter, I understood what he was trying to say when I experienced it myself. And um, I was traveling, and I was in an airplane, and I was looking outside. There was something that I saw, and by default, in my head, I had a statement about what I saw. Okay. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. Correct. So the author is saying that the mind constantly talks. It is as if you have a roommate. If I were to separate my mind out and place it as another person, and let's say you are living together, and then let's say you're watching TV. Now, you yourself are watching TV by yourself, and the roommate, the mind is there. And the way that the mind works is every scene that comes, there would be a constant commentary, right? And this continues the entire day. It could be something like if I am I'm just giving examples now, right? Okay, if let's say I'm going to eat food, the mind may start saying, "Oh, do you think you should eat it? Maybe not. Oh, you didn't work out today, so maybe not this. You should eat something else." So that's like the imagine having a roommate who's constantly telling you things, right? This is how the author was explaining mind. And how would you like such a roommate, by the way, who constantly keeps telling you what is going on, which you already know what is going on? Let's say you're watching a movie and you know already what's going on, but the mind is telling you in addition, or the mind has a constant debate about what to eat, what not to eat, what to wear, what not to wear, and all of that. Um, so, how would you like such a roommate who constantly keeps telling you things?
Yeah, well, basically, we would like the mind, we would like to guide our mind, and sometimes that's not possible because it has its own, what shall I say, way of going somewhere.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it jumps from one thought to another, and after some time, you're nowhere near the first thought. You've gone at a tangent totally.
yeah, yeah. So there's no space for you to talk if that's the case, right? If the mind is constantly talking, if your roommate is constantly talking. So that is what he was trying to say in the book. Hi, Lolita. And Archana, you have a question here which says, if it stops, then I should think, am I alive? Well, that's for you to answer. But maybe you will find the answer during the session or otherwise. So, so the author, he's trying to say that it's your opinion. Okay, that's good. Great. There was a question mark at the end, so I maybe misunderstood there. Yeah. So again, going back to what the author is saying that when you look at something, your soul captures it all. It doesn't need words to capture it. When you, like I said, when I'm looking outside the window, whatever I see is captured in more than words, right? When you, it's like saying when you see a picture speaks more than 1,000 words, they say, right? And that's how it is, because you're capturing it, or you as the soul is capturing it through all your senses. It's not only visual, it's also auditory. There's some sound tied to it, maybe the sound of the wind, or there's some smell associated with it. So all of these are way more than my words describing it as there are white flowers and then there's green leaves, right? And so what the author is saying is the soul captures it so fully that you do not need the mind to describe it. Yeah. So I think here's what I would invite you to do. Like next time you find that you're looking at something and then the mind starts saying, oh, that's too red, or this is whatever, just take a pause and see. So basically, part of the whole exercise or part of the journey in this book that he talks about is to notice. And the minute that you start noticing that the mind is saying things which are not needed, it will eventually stop saying those things, because you're capturing it more fully, capturing whatever is the situation more fully, just by being there. Yeah.
So is this a way of looking inward?
There's more to it.
Okay, fine.
But so he starts off by talking about mind and how unnecessary it is to keep adding in words in your mind about something that you're seeing or experiencing. The reason the mind does it is to feel in control. That's the mind's way of being in control, and the mind loves control. Yeah. And that's why you develop a life also around building control, which doesn't really make sense. And then he starts on to talk about energy. Yeah, and there's a beautiful example that he gave in the book, right? So he gave an example of, let's say, there's a breakup, and I'm now talking about it as there is a breakup instead of saying you have had a breakup, because I don't know what situation you are in. And imagine that there's a breakup, and then the guy or the girl, they are like so heartbroken because of the breakup that they don't have any energy to do anything. They're just sitting in the room crying and not eating anything, and the house is a mess, right? And this is going on for many days. They just don't feel any energy to do anything, right? You may have seen this or maybe experienced it. And imagine that after a few weeks, the whoever it was, the partner, they send a message saying, okay, I want to meet. And then the author says, what would the reaction be? That person who had no energy to do anything, all of a sudden gets all the energy, right? Even if they have not been eating. suddenly there's a lot of energy to do everything in the world, correct? So then he is inviting us to look at where did you get that energy from? It's not like you were eating food, right? Um, and then he goes on to say that this energy is always existing inside you. There is energy within, but it's up to you to access it or not. In the example that he gave, I would add that um, the person was letting external situations define how energetically available they are, right? How much they use their energy was based on external situations, right? But the crux of it is that the energy exists within you, right?
So, how would you access that energy? You said it exists within us, right? Yeah, true. But how do you access it and channelize it?
Yeah. So, roughly speaking, in the book, one thing he talks about is being open. And then the second thing that he talks about is to let all the blocks that there are to let them pass, which is parallel to being open. So once you're being open, then you allow all the blocks to go through you, and once all the blocks and all the blocks are resolved, and when you are being open for every experience, then there is nothing else to spend energy on. Then all your energy is available for other things. So when there are blocks, what is happening essentially is you are
Obstructing the flow of energy.
that, plus to keep that block within you, you are spending energy there too.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's energy that is being spent in resisting whatever it is.
So, how do you identify these blocks?
It comes up, and when it comes up, the way to do this is to just let it be.
Okay. It comes up means how? How do you recognize it's a block? Or it's just not a thought?
um how do you recognize it's a block? Okay. um Usually it comes up in relationships with others, because that's a very good example of where um, it lets you see within yourself. Anything, like they say, right? Anything that irritates you about someone else is within you. So when you see any of these emotions coming up, fear, jealousy, anxiety, um, um, there was one more. All of these coming up, then that means those are blocks.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And
So,
it
they are the
takes,
major blocks. Yeah.
I mean, fear is, of course, quite a big one. So in life, usually, we are trying to either, either, uh, it's a past situation that takes your energy off because you've not let yourself accept and allow for that entire situation, or it's anxiety about the future. Yeah. Well, negative emotions are, yes, blocks in one way or the other. He doesn't talk about blocks as to what are blocks, but he talks about being open so that everything can pass through you. A very good example about this in terms of being open is also, I think this was beautiful when I read it, and I was actually traveling then. And what changed after I read this was I was letting whatever it is to come up as uh, as it is coming up. And I mean experiences in life, right? Experiences during that travel. So to when he was talking about yeah, so So what he says is, when you're being open, then you're not blocking anything. So negative emotions are blocks, but anything that you're not letting, any experience that you're not allowing to pass is also a block. Now, the example that he has given here is, it's a beautiful example. And and how he shares it is, let's say you're driving, okay, and then it's normal, you're just driving normally, and then you're seeing the trees pass by, you're seeing the clouds pass by, you're seeing a house pass by, there's a black car that goes by, then there's a red car that goes by. um, all is good, everything is natural, it's like normal, okay, and then there's a blue car that goes by, okay, and you see the person sitting in the car, and it seems like it is your ex or somebody. Yeah, okay, let's go with this example that he gave. Imagine that it is your ex. You think that it is your ex, but you're not sure, and you also see that that person is with someone else, right? the and that blue car has passed by, you're not even sure if it is your ex, but that blue car has been on your mind even after that blue car has passed by. Now, this also is a block because you're not letting that experience pass through you. You were okay to let the black car, the red car, the trees, the clouds, the house, everything pass by, but this one thing, you're not letting it pass through you as normal, right? And that is also a block. So this is what he means by blocking an experience. And what he says is, the only way to not block anything is to be open. Yeah. Or conversely, how do you be open? It's by not blocking anything, just letting everything be, whatever is coming up.
Yeah. So in this example, how would you not block? She
How would
sees
you?
this blue car, right? So
Yeah.
now she thinks it might be somebody she knew with someone. So how
Yeah.
do you not block that?
Yeah. Um, you do not block it by observing it and letting it be. It's the mind that is going, oh, I think it is my ex. Oh my God, who is it with? Who is he with? Or who is she with? How can he just move on with somebody else, someone so soon? Right? Even if this is the narrative going on in your mind, how do you not block it is by catching yourself in the thought process and like taking a back seat and observing what's happening to you, right? So if I take a back seat and if I see this car going, and then I take a step back and observe what I am doing, like me in the human form is doing with this experience. Even you start by observing the experiencer. Yeah. And when you are seated in that back seat observing, then that's what he calls the seat of self. Yeah.
The seat
Of self.
Okay.
Soul. Because for the soul or self, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the blue car, the red car, the person in the car. Doesn't matter. It just is. It just is an experience. Yeah. But if you let this blue car experience not go through you, then it is a block because you're also spending energy to suppress it because you don't want to feel whatever is coming up. That's the whole reason there's suppression, because you see the blue car and you have all those unpleasant feelings, right? You feel those unpleasant feelings and you don't want to feel it. That is the whole reason to suppress it. But there is nothing to, basically the energy that is spent on suppressing is counterproductive than experiencing it through. Because if you experience even the unpleasant things that are happening, if you notice also the unpleasant feelings that you are experiencing, then there's no energy spent on keeping this event with you. There's nothing in the event that needs to stay. Exactly like the clouds or the trees or the house or the red car or the black car. Yeah. And there's energy available for you to experience new things.
Yeah. What I could say, like, if you have got over that person, you can do it. But if you haven't gotten over them, it's not going to happen in just that observation, right? It has to be a continuous process. And you can't keep seeing that person to get over it, right? If you can understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Am I saying something that's not um I mean, in line with the discussion? I don't quite know.
So in this specific example, if you're getting into the details of, okay, so you can accept it if you've gotten over the person, that's a very logical thought, right? What is then it has to go to what is even the reason that you're giving someone else the power to affect you so much, correct? That is the place of the soul where it's okay whatever it is. So
Okay.
that's the mind speaking, right? Only if I get over this person am I okay to meet this person. And maybe that is true and that's okay logically. Um, but on the other hand, when you talk about soul and being open to everything, and if you do not want to block any of the experiences, then for the soul, everything is okay. There's no good or bad. There's no scale in the first place. You are actually off the scale. Um, for the soul, it just is. This is just an experience. And I think going back to what we started off with, where we talked about the I'll read the line again, which says that the fear will fade once you understand that the only thing there is to get from life is the growth that comes from experiencing it. Yeah. So if there is growth from experiencing this blue car event, sure. But that is experiencing life is the only thing there is to do while we are here reincarnated in this form.
So it's when you experience it, when you go through it, then only there is growth.
That's the purpose of life, right? You're here to that's the one thing that is that the soul wants for, which is evolution. So spirituality for me is equal to growth.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So how would you define the growth then? Like, I've grown means like you've gotten over it?
Means that I have experienced it.
You can experience so many things, but that doesn't mean to say that you have grown, right?
The entire life is a growth. Like, so
That is it is a growth if you learn something from it and you're able to move on, right? If you it comes with reflection, because with reflection you are able to pause and think and then move on. If you're on auto mode, I don't know. I'm a little confused. I hope I'm not confusing you too.
Yeah. What I would say is that is a very logical way of thinking about it, in the sense that if I am learning and reflecting, then I'm growing. When we look at it from the soul's perspective, the soul is here. You choose your life. That's what I believe in. You choose your life, and in the life there is something that the soul is here to experience, right? And everything that the soul is here to experience is is for the growth of the soul, because the soul has already chosen this life. Yeah. And yeah, of course, it will be good to know what the soul is here to experience. But since we don't have that knowledge, the best thing to do is to experience everything that's coming in.
Yeah, but you have to experience it in a way that it doesn't cause you, what shall I say? It doesn't cause you more heartbreak, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. So now this is a mental, this is what he talks about in the book as trying to protect yourself, right? You build these, walls around you, or you build this big fortress around you, so that you don't have a heartbreak, so that you don't get injured, as an example, so that there's no burglary in the house or whatever. But in that is the mind, because the mind is trying to control so that it doesn't have to experience the pain, right? But what this book says, and he says, which is true, is that um, building that fortress and living inside that fortress is more, it's more caging than being free. So if you tell your mind that, okay, if the mind tells that if you go and tell your mind that I don't want to have another heartbreak, then you're making rules of how life should be, which means life cannot be, if this happens, then I'm not happy. If this happens, if I get a raise, then I'm like really happy, or whatever. These are rules that we are building so that we don't have to experience fear, pain, and such emotions. But those rules are in fact counterproductive for us to experience life fully. What if there was nothing to fear and you take every experience as it comes, whether it's a heartbreak or a raise? There was another very beautiful thing in the book where he says that, it just occurred to me, I have written it down, I know. It says that, which is tied to what I said, about experiencing everything the same way, right? I'm just looking for it. Yeah, he says living spiritually means to not participate in this whole struggle of building the rules, right? He says it means that the events that happen in the moment belong to the moment, they don't belong to you, they have nothing to do with you. You must stop defining yourself in relationship to the events and just let them come and go. So whether it's a heartbreak or the blue car, it's just an event, it's gone. It's like it's so like logically also it's so stupid that that event has gone. Not stupid, but yeah, of course, I also do, I have done that still do it, I'm human. But I come back to taking a step back, observing. So the blue car that has gone by, it's already gone by, it's in the past, but you're still thinking about the blue car. How much of a suffering is that, right? So what he says is the thing is not to build more stronger walls, but to let the walls collapse so you can experience whatever is coming through.
Okay. I could, understand a bit of that. But now, for example, when you see the blue car, it raises a whole host of emotions, right?
Yes.
So that's where you get stuck,
Yeah,
right?
you could get
So,
stuck. Yeah.
yeah. Then how do you get unstuck? Only by observing, you had mentioned.
Ideally, yes. And
But before you start observing, you're still getting stuck and stuck and stuck. And then when it comes to a point, you say, yeah, now I
yeah,
need to observe.
yeah. He talks about that also in the book in another way. Now, what he says is, Just give me a second. I'm just getting to the notes. I know what I want to talk about. Yeah. When you are not noticing from that centered position, and that means you are, so there are two steps to it. The step one is when you're getting disturbed by it. And when you are getting disturbed by it, that means you're leaving the seat of self, you're leaving the seat of observer. Now you are participating in whatever the experience is, meaning you're starting to think that, oh my god, that was my ex, how could he go with somebody else so soon, right? Example. So that's when you are getting disturbed by it. Okay. Now the step two is even worse, where you could start acting based on this disturbed space. And that could look like, I write to my ex saying exactly that. How the hell could you just move on so soon, right? So when you leave the seat of self, these two things happen. One is you're getting into the disturbance, and second thing is you're acting out from the space of disturbance. But that's like descending two levels, he says. But also now think about all of those situations where we've acted out this way, right? I know for a fact that none of those situations have gone well. um, so in my experience, it's to let all of that pass through however it is. And also I think this is not in the book, but I wanted to bring it up. It's coming up now, so I'm just bringing it up. There's something about emotions, which is that the emotions are active only for 90 seconds. What happens after that is up to you. So if you feel angry at that blue car situation, I can choose myself to say that I choose not to be angry about this blue car situation after 90 seconds. And if I don't do that, then it remains with you. Then, of course, there's the work of, um, working through the anger. And it's not to put pressure on you to say, okay, come on, 90 seconds, chop, chop, I need to do it right now. But to say that you have the choice to have that emotion be with you or not. And so if in this situation on this specific situation, if there are tools that you're looking for, this is my personal way of handling it, then I would just let that be. Like, okay, obviously observing it is the first thing to do, but if you step off from the observation space, um, uh, usually now I have become very acquainted with observing. And what am I observing, right? I'm observing myself. I'm observing how it feels in my body. Some of the very interesting cues are in the body. An example is, at least at work, when it becomes heated, right? Like there's a heated conversation, or if I sense something is wrong, I can sense that in the chat. I can sense written chat, or I can sense that also um, in um, in a meeting. And then uh, my observation skills have come to the place where I am noticing what's happening in my body. As an example, my heartbeat is fast, my face is going warmer, my ears are going warmer. This is all observing yourself. You are noticing these things about yourself, and when you're noticing these things from that space, you can make a different choice. So that's observing. That's part of observing. Part of observing is also thinking, not thinking, observing your thoughts. Yeah. Like, what the hell? How could he go? Yeah. And if you are not able to do that, and if you step into the disturbance, then of course the next thing is to take time out for yourself, feel the feeling, let it be. And then eventually you do step back into the observer role, which you are. Like, you are the observer.
Yeah, but sometimes the emotions are very strong that they get a hold of you against your better nature.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, like, for example, fear is a very strong emotion and it may leave an impression on your mind. And that impression takes a long time to go. Like people who are scared of water when they were young, they still carry the fear for many, many years.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be very well the case. And it's a lot to carry, right? In the sense that, like going back to the point where I talked about energy spent in holding on to the fear, there's a lot more energy spent on it, which could then actually be used to learn to swim, as an example. Yeah.
But the first thing would be to get over the fear.
And the way to do that is to step back. One of the ways, like there are of course other logical ways to get through it. I mean, the context of this discussion is more how does the soul take it? Because the soul doesn't even feel the fear. There is no emotion for soul. Like I said, the soul is not on a scale where it's good or bad, fear, love. No, it's off of that scale. So for the soul, it just is. It just is an experience of being in water. And being in water is also not good or bad or delighted or sad. No, it just is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's basically like you're getting back to yourself, which is deep within, right? Something like that.
Yeah. So the way
You're
to
cutting through the layers of thoughts, emotions, and feelings, etc.
Yeah, because none of those are none of those are permanent. None of those are unwavering. But there's one thing that's always there, and that's you.
Yeah, yeah. They keep changing.
Exactly.
Main thing is getting over that.
Yeah. Yeah. Try it out. I mean, uh, um maybe the initial way to do it is like simply sitting with yourself. Um, because even when you're sitting with yourself, there will be thoughts, lots of thoughts. It's not about resisting it. It's about just, oh yeah, I see that this thought is there, and then just, oh, the beauty is the minute you notice it, that means you're present. You're no longer in your thoughts. The minute you notice your thoughts, you're present.
Okay.
So that's why it's necessary to, as they say, keep noticing it. Yeah. I'm just looking through the notes, seeing if there's anything that could be useful to talk about in the next few minutes to come. 10 minutes? Yeah.
So is it easy to get this skill?
um, this is not in the book, but what I would say is how I would say is what another very good spirituality trainer, or I can't call him trainer, but yeah, a spirituality teacher says. And he says that you cannot acquire what you already have or what you already are.
You cannot acquire, but you have to discover it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that is that you just have to remember it, discover it, yes. And that's the finding you part, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So, but that requires some effort.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, in the beginning, it could just be, like I said, sitting with yourself. Just sit with yourself. And there's such amazing things that come up when you do that. It's like, um, he he also talks about relationships at some point. Um, yeah, I think what he is, yeah, okay. So he talks about being lonely and then going, I have made that mistake. So I can speak from experience. So you feel lonely, and therefore you want to be in a relationship because you're lonely. So you're starting out something from already the space of
Lack.
exactly lack, and also um uh neediness, or from the mind, like, okay, I don't want to be lonely, therefore I want the relationship, but not for being in the relationship, not for the
Not for the
experiencing.
sharing.
Exactly. So he says that of course that relationship will be troubled, because your thing was to get rid of loneliness, but that is, he says that that is what you will experience in the relationship, because that's how you went out about to fix loneliness. So that is what you will experience in the relationship also. So he says there's I mean, and then if I were to talk about it, then I would say that the space from which you go out matters. So the whole thing is to feel that love within. The love is not in the external. And why am I saying this? Is because it goes back to sitting with yourself. When you sit with yourself, you experience that love and that peace and calm, which is not because of something external, but it's experiencing something that you have within yourself, and it's beautiful. You want and when you go out with that from within yourself, everything else that happens is of love, is of calm and peace. And I mean, those are the words that I can think of describing it in, but I don't think words can be used to describe that feeling. So I would say, yeah, just maybe sit with yourself some as often as you can. Yeah, yeah. 5 minutes to go. But do you have any questions or anything else to share here?
I know, I think I pretty much asked you whatever I wanted to.
Yeah. Just reading through a few things. Oh yeah, there's something very interesting. He says, it cannot touch you unless you touch it. This is for all those, the fears and the all of the things that that you
Okay, so what is it? It cannot touch you unless you touch it. Okay, now
exactly.
what do you mean by unless you touch it?
So the example is the blue car, right? I'm trying to keep touching it even after it has gone.
Hmm.
Yeah, if I don't touch it, there's nothing. All good.
You're
So
you're getting back into that recollection state.
yeah,
Your thoughts are going back,
yeah.
meaning that's what you mean by if you touch it.
Yeah, so I'm like poking it again and again, right?
Yeah.
If
So
I, if I
if it's a wound, you're getting hurt again.
yeah, so don't touch it. Just let it be, and then it's good. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a good advice. So we
yeah,
should learn how to do that.
yeah. I think
It
maybe just
comes.
sitting with yourself would help.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like starting to brush every day, and now it's natural. That's the first thing we do. Let's say when we wake up, or have a sip of water or whatever. So it just comes naturally after a while. Sitting with yourself definitely helps. Or sitting in the seat of the observer, taking a step back, taking that pause. They call it pause. If I have to logically put it, then it's the pause, because the pause allows you to take a step back, and that's the seat, kind of the seat of self.
Yeah, yeah. Correct. So that's something to work on. The pause, taking a step back.
Yeah. Yeah. Even sitting with yourself is a good pause. Yeah.
So very nice listening to you and you telling us about the book.
Thank you so much for joining.
I enjoyed it.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you, Archana, also for joining. Okay, I think she's muted. but
Yeah,
we call it,
possibly.
yeah.
I mean, this is the first a book. I mean, this is the book that you've read on this kind of lines, or you've read other books similar to this?
I have I am reading one more on similar lines. Yeah, did I read anything else on this topic? Uh, yeah, actually, I have a lot of parallel books going on. So there are two other books which are in parallel on similar topics. One is called Celestine Prophecy, and
Okay.
then the other one is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. But this, even though the title is very off, but it is really about spirituality and non-duality. Other than that, like I follow a few people on non-duality. I avoid using the term spirituality because spirituality, everybody has their own definitions, right? Some people spirituality is religion. That's not spirituality for me.
Yeah, yeah. Religion is totally different.
Yeah, exactly. For me, spirituality is growth, soul evolution. So I call it non-duality. Like I said, it's not the scale. You're off the scale. It's not good and bad. It just is. So I follow a few people though, not necessarily books, but there are a few trainers or teachers who I follow.
Okay. Would you like to share their names?
Yeah, sure. I can write here. There's Kurt Johnson, and
Okay.
then this, of course, Eckhart Tolle. He's obviously
Yeah, I've read his books, The Power of Now.
now that's good too. Yeah, yeah. That's another book that I have read. Yes, now that you are talking about it, there's another person who talks beautifully. Why can I not remember his name? It's on YouTube. Just give me a Rupert Spira. I remember his name. He talks
Rupert
Spira.
Spira. Okay. I've
Yeah.
not heard of him.
No, yeah, he's just amazing. But of course, there are many Indian. I mean, not all of them. Some of them obviously have they've been to India and they have lived there and learned from there also. So there are a lot of those non-duality teachers or sages from India, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Cool. Great. Then I am gonna say thank you so much for listening in and listening. I really wanted to share, so I'm pretty sure it was meant for the two of you and maybe others who listen to the recording later. But thank you for joining today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for patiently answering all my questions.
I hope that helped.
Okay.
And I'll see you in some other Writernaama session then.
Sure, sure.
See you. Thank
Bye.
you.